Welcome to the podcast. Great talking to you today.
Thank you, Ben. Good to be here and to chat a little bit about marketing, business, and some other stuff.
Yeah. Are you like a big marketing nerd as well, would you say?
Yeah.
Everyone on LinkedIn is very into it, I think, which is good, I think. Found the community.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. LinkedIn is a platform where whatever you do, you need to go over marketing and salespeople. So you need, even though if you're not selling to them, you need to use them to get to your right target audience.
That is actually a very good point. Like I've always thought it must be easy to market to marketers on LinkedIn, but I haven't met that many people who are successful at not marketing to marketers, but it might just be because they're not coming towards me.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I had MJ Peters as a guest on my podcast, and exactly that was one of the topics that we talked about, because like she's the CMO of the fire tracing, and basically they're going after military stuff, after medical, if I remember right. So she uses LinkedIn to establish herself as somebody who knows what she's doing, like marketing, sales, getting new perspectives into B2B, and kind of get referrals from those people. So it's kind of going different way. It's the kind of the same. We are getting more from LinkedIn from our peers than from going directly after the decision makers.
So it's like intros and referrals is like the way you can go over marketers' heads.
Yeah, basically what's the main point here is that if you are going in the basic way to finding your target audience, you go to search and you type like seniority, position, company, demographics, whatever you do. But like 90% of those people are inactive on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And you cannot know if they are or they aren't. So they maybe see your message in 3 months. That's what's not good when it comes to outreach. The better way is to kind of find your niche, your industry, fire like up to 5 influencers in the niche, people that have huge engagement on their posts, and kind of engage in comments in their posts, and also add those people that are already engaged over there, because they may not be your target audience, but they are interested in the topics that you are as well. And basically, if you are talking about those topics as they are, they will be interested to go in a chat, talk about it, raise awareness. And if you know what you are doing, they will recommend you as their peers.
That's something I read just in one of your articles, just to add people who are already engaging. I think that's a really good point, because there's so many, as you said, inactive people. I've been telling this to my team now. Those people who are actually engaging are the ones who are going to probably like your own post.
That was the game changer for me. Basically, I had good content, and the second thing was I need to dump down the content, because like I was considering some things as like focus on SQLs, on the revenue, instead of focusing on MQLs to be basic stuff that everybody understands. But it turns out to be full transformation of the whole industry, because it's the basic, it's what it should be from the beginning. But we are coming from the times of Mad Men, where it was like one-way communication. Customers didn't have a voice, especially in B2B. Companies were focused on themselves, on their features, and it's changing now. And we need to explain to all the people that maybe don't understand it yet, why do we need to change specific things. And it's not changing yet. I was expecting, my prediction was that a lot of companies would drop lead generation, focusing on the revenue. Like even David Cancel from Drift said, I think 2 weeks ago, that it's now time of the revenue marketer, but it's not happening. Like companies are still focusing on going after MQLs. And now I think it might never change, but you can be smart and do things in a better way.
Yeah. It's just like every industry. Like we have one high street retail in the UK. Like there are still some of the biggest ones who refuse to get an e-commerce site. There's always going to be those people.
Yeah, I mean, like I think 10 years ago, like one of my dreams was to open a little bookstore in some good neighborhood and have a part when they can buy a book and get a free coffee and read it while they're there, those kind of things. But now with everything changes, it kind of eliminates those kind of ideas and those kind of dreams.
Yeah, definitely stops people starting out in those industries. If we just go back to the beginning, the thing that we were going to talk about. So did you start Funky Marketing at the beginning of 2020?
It was, a little bit earlier. I registered it on the 13th of January, but I started to think about it and to work on it in like October last year, actually 2019, because like I got out of the company, the agency where I was for 2.5 years, performance marketing agency. I was director of operations, and kind of I felt stuck because the CEO didn't want to change specific things which will allow us to lower the churn and retain clients more, and to kind of do some other things except like getting clients for 3 months and then going to get new ones, and those kind of things. And I was seeing that performance marketing has a plateau, and it goes well on all the way until you run out of the budget, and then it stops. So you need to invest in content, in brand, in inbound, those kind of things. That was my idea when I was starting. It was an interesting story because I didn't have any money on the side. My wedding was coming, everything. So I basically, when I left the office, I sat down in my apartment, told my wife what's going to happen, took my notebook, and I wrote what's going to happen in the next 3 months. What do I need to do to get to the point where I can start a company? And I started, I didn't know what I wanted to focus on. So I had e-commerce, I had solopreneurs, I had other companies. I didn't know that I want to focus on B2B, but by listening, putting myself out there, so I kind of saw what's happening, what's going on. And there I'm coming from B2C environment when a lot of companies are investing in brand, in emotions, creativity, feelings. So I decided, okay, the one thing I have is personal brand. It's recognized in Serbia, but hey, that's something. It's better than nothing. And I had the work that I've been doing with tons of clients, like I think more than 200 of them, with different agencies and startups that I was a part of. In most of them, I was like the second guy in the company. I think I worked for 13 months only as a rookie in the agency. And after 13 months, I became the GM of that agency, like 15 people. That was my start, actually. And so I basically created, I think it was 32 pages PDF, kind of a strategy, step by step, showing what you can do to kind of get started with your, it was a small to mid-sized business. And the results and the screenshots, they were from the work I've done working for other agencies. So basically, while we were working on a website, we come up with landing page, just like if you want to scale your business, find out the way, what you need to do to come up with a great strategy, download the PDF. So when they downloaded the PDF, they got 32 pages document and 5 emails follow up when I was talking more about the strategy. I was showcasing the clients that we work with, the testimonials, and the last one is always, I gave you the PDF. I show you what we have done with others. I show you the testimonials. So it's your time to schedule a call and convert in that way. And basically, when I went out with that, we converted the first client like tomorrow, because it happens that I was in Belgrade and it was Impa Hub. So some of the people that I know were working there, and they saw that I went on a soul journey, and basically they call us, we saw that you are in Belgrade, can we meet tomorrow? Are you still going to be here? So we closed them, and that's how it started. And then basically in like April, when COVID started, they said, okay, we don't want to hire more people to do different kind of things. We trust you, and we want you to do different things for us. So they basically upsell themselves to us, started doing more work. And then since June, I started also hiring other people, and the team started to grow. Basically, I didn't go after hiring anybody. They all came to me because they recognized themselves in the story, in my personal brand, the way I talk about things, the way I do things. And that's how it started.
Wow, cool. And you've closed 33 customers in 2020.
Yeah, I closed 33 customers in 2020. Not all of them were like big deals, but some of them were. Some of them are still with us. So it was kind of good. We closed 2 enterprise level clients, the companies that want to be the next unicorn, like 600 plus employees, but going after competitors that are 6,000 employees. So kind of they came to us and they say, okay, we want a 10x growth, and we think you are the best team to take us there. So when somebody comes to you inbound like that, I mean, you can just say to your team, forget everything that we worked so far with small to mid-sized companies. Now we need to change the whole team, because now for what we do, we need to do it a little bit different, not to implement it ourselves, but teach the people from their team to teach others from the team.
Before I want to ask you about like the document and the emails and stuff. Before we do that, what would you say is the advantage of, say, someone in B2B going, not outsourcing, but like hiring an agency like yours versus just building the skill in-house?
There's one thing I want to clarify before we get into that. Like, I think that every company should have somebody that works on marketing in-house, especially like content marketer. I think this is the assets they need to have in-house, and they can hire us or somebody else to do the distribution, to maybe advise them on how to structure the content, how to kind of make it better, how to analyze it, and use the content to create demand. So that's the first thing. But I don't consider us, we are officially the agency, but I consider us the team, because we do things a little bit differently. We are fast in implementing. I think like being a small team, that's one of the huge advantages that we have over others. And being flexible with kind of changing the strategy on the go, like looking at circumstances and what's happening and changing that on the go without actually breaking the strategy. And we are very honest and straight. It made us lose some clients, especially like German speaking part of the Europe is the ones that we don't work well. Definitely, like we work well with US, with others that are just like us, direct and honest. Because if you hired me to help you with your marketing, I'm going to be honest and tell you when something is bullshit, or I'm going to tell you when something is okay.
That's what you need as a partner, I think.
Yeah. So that's why we post a lot. We talk a lot about specific things that we are doing, how we are different, so we can attract the right fit for us. Also, to be able to implement what we are doing, we need companies that have the right culture and values. And it took us some time to realize the way we need to communicate to attract those kind of clients and get on the right foot with them.
Okay. Yeah. I think that a lot of people say this about like the way you post on LinkedIn, kind of to pick a side or to say who you are quite openly, and you attract.
And still like not even 5% of people are doing that. You need to polarize people. There's no way around it. And there's no way around you not posting anything. Because imagine a situation that comes up, a problematic situation when like you decide I'm not going to post because I don't ever post, and the other side is going to tell their truth. And you say, okay, now I'm going to tell my truth, but your truth is now the second truth. It's not the first. And then, okay, maybe somebody will believe you, somebody won't, but it's not the same if you are telling the story first. So just an example of when things comes to extreme of what can happen.
Yeah, that's so true. To go back to the document, the 32-page document you initially made, what was this 32 pages of just lots of different playbooks that you've seen work with clients and just showcasing like or teaching?
No, it was kind of the roadmap. So where you start, what do you need to define, how you do the branding, how you defined the main pillars of content, then how you do the distribution, then advertising, everything. And everything was structured around the services that we were offering at the time. So at the time, we were offering also website development, those kind of things. So it started from the beginning and how you develop it. Yeah.
Okay. So if I was a potential prospect, could come and read this document and see where I am on that roadmap. And if I like where it's going, just be like, can you help me do this?
Yeah, you can even implement it on your own. That was the point, to give them everything. And if it's too much, hire us to do it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's about tapping into those people who just don't have the time to continue doing it.
Yeah. But one thing here was the main point, and it is that it's a huge document that gives you value no matter what you decide to do. Because I was working in performance marketing agency when a lot of times we had just 5 things you need to do to build your brand, let's say, and it's like 1-page document. And when I give my email for that and I get the email, I will say this is a bullshit. It doesn't help me in any way. And it's kind of like going on a blind date, when you like meet somebody on, I don't remember how the apps are nowadays called. But anyway, when you got married, you forgot about those things. But anyway, so you meet somebody on one of those dating apps and you meet at a cafe, you get some drinks, you get drunk, you end up sleeping together. And when you wake up in the morning, you realize what you got. It's kind of the same when you do the lead generation and you get that kind of email. Like, is it the material to start relationship, or is it material to say, oh man, this was a mistake?
I've downloaded many really rubbish ebooks from like I won't download anything that's 30 SEO tips anymore because I know they're all the same tips every single
Yeah.
day. But this is like the problem with marketers being measured on just MQLs. It's like we can generate tons of MQLs for people like that just from easy.
It is. I mean, there's a problem because especially in B2B, it's longer sales cycles, and like while it lasts, marketers need to do something. That's how. And if we have a marketing team, we need to measure them on something. That's how the decision makers are thinking. And so let's come up with leads. And when you measure them on leads, okay, they got this month like 20. Why this thing isn't going up? So marketers focus on leads and they grow the number of leads they are getting. And it's not helping because those are MQLs, like those are people that just wanted to read the ebook, educate themselves and do nothing at all about it. Maybe they will do it in like 2 years. Who knows? But you're just getting tons of people to the sales, people that are not interested in it. So sales continues saying that marketing is not doing anything again. They are sending us these leads that doesn't even want to go with us. So we waste our time on talking with people that are not interested in our services, in our products, and it goes back into the circus. But if you are doing it a bit different and like sending to the sales only the people that clicked that they want to talk to the sales, right, then the sales have actually the SQLs, not even the SQLs, but the clients. So you don't need to have like 10 people in sales. You can have just 2 that are experienced, that are closing the deals. By doing that, you won't have unexperienced salespeople. So all the customer's experience will be great. And then by doing that, by having people that are interested in your services, you can increase the deal size as well. And it all go to the revenue, and then you decide what's going to do with the revenue, like continue working on your products or your services or putting more money into marketing. And also sales can do some things on the other side. They can do the outreach. Marketing doesn't need to do the outreach.
I think it makes a more fun job for salespeople they get leads who are ready to go and they get to do the closing and the nurturing along the sales cycle instead of cold calling. What was your approach with your 32-page strategy document? In that, were you collecting emails? Oh yeah, and you said you had an email nurture, I guess, after that. But was there any point where you were reaching out to those?
No, actually, no. I just added to the newsletter. When they finished that 5 email streak, I was adding them to the newsletter because they are not ready for the services yet, so they need more education. And then I was adding them to the newsletter. And at the time, I was doing lots of webinars. It weren't webinars like closed ones. It was the open webinars. I streamed them on the platforms. It was when the COVID started, so everybody were listening. And I recorded, I think 6 or 7 of them. I distribute them through the newsletter. And that's how I got to, I think, up to 5,000 subscribers in a short period of time. And basically those webinars gave me the content for the next few months. I use them to kind of perfect the way we do the content distribution, because you have the webinar, you post it on the YouTube, then you add the audio to Anchor to distribute it to the all other audio platforms. Then you chop it out in like 5 to 8 smaller pieces of content, no matter if it's like videos or it's audiograms with a headline and transcription. So basically you have the full buyer's journey over there, and you have people who are guests who will promote it as well. And that's how we started to build the momentum.
Nice. So like the B2B podcasting, putting that at the center of, or I guess it was a webinar, then putting it as a podcast, but then putting that at the center of.
Yeah, it was webinars. And then I started the first podcast with Marty Sanchez. We still run it B2B Weekly. So it's basically 2 of us founders of the B2B marketing agencies talking about B2B, about our journey, about the way we develop it. I still, like when we hire new people in the team, I still give them like go to the B2B Weekly and binge the episodes to see how the how funky marketing developed. Because I was sharing everything, Marty as well, and we were doing it live with people, recording it live with people with us on the Zoom, so live questions and everything. And it was the start. Then we started building the Funky Marketing podcast, when it was the goal to kind of create content and build more authority around myself and around funky marketing to kind of get the well-respected guests. And I think in addition to that was at the end of the year, we were looking at LinkedIn top voices, and most of the lists were bullshit. So there were people who are just 3 months on LinkedIn. And so we decided, okay, we're going to do our funky marketing top voices list, when it will be 100% subjective. Like among us in the team, we will find like 15 people who will be on the list, just based on if we think they're doing funky marketing or not. So marketing that is making a differentiation, changing the industry, bringing back the values, those kind of things. And then we started recording podcast episodes with them, doing interviews, linking all that on the website, which made like the SEO flow a little bit. And yeah, basically now we just build on that based on those episodes and on those interviews. And now I think starting from the next week, we'll try out whole different things to see how much content is too much. Because now we have quotes with those people, we have videos, short videos from the episodes, we have posts, we have articles, so we can even go to 3 to 4 posts per day. The goal is here to test everything and to see like, will this bring us some significant growth or it won't? And just because we are using our own profiles and to test this out, and then when we start working with clients, we kind of implement the things that are already working.
I have so many questions. So you said there about getting you got all your team posting. Is everyone on your team posting? Have you got them all?
Yeah.
How did you get them all on board, or was it just the people you hired?
Yeah, I learned about that in the previous agencies and companies where I was, when like I was just the second man, so I didn't really make a decision who we're gonna hire. I just advised, but that thing of them being active, having personal brand, or just like being aware that they need to build that wasn't something we were looking at. And the company, the culture was kind of, let's say, foggy. So when I started Funky Marketing, those are the first thing that I wanted to establish. So kind of the way Funky Marketing was made, I already had the name, I already had the community within Facebook group, 2,500 people over there that existed for some time before I even started the agency. It was called Funky Marketing. At the time, I even like printed the t-shirts and everything to see if we are actually having something specific. But like this all allowed me to kind of see what we need to do, because we tried over there in the agency to make people start being active, but some of them were, some of them weren't. And basically you cannot make somebody do it inside. They won't do it because you as the CEO are telling them to do it. So they need to be aware and to realize it on their own. Yes. So I try to get people who are already there, who are already posting, who are already doing things, and just seeing if they have that drive that I have. Are we focusing on the same goals? Are we excited about the same things? And if we are, it's kind of easy. So let me tell you, the last employee that I have, Linda from Spain, she even had the agency called Funky Marketing Barcelona. And she approached me, and this is really great, because like she was already into what we are, already posting, doing some things. She was into B2C, but doesn't matter. She knew how to use emotions, how to use all kind of things. And kind of she pitched me with a 3 pages message. So it's kind of saying, okay, I try to focus doing this, but I would like to focus on doing what I love with somebody that I trust that they can take me there. I love what you guys doing. I've been following, and like adding specific things, what she likes, things she was following, and that are kind of making the difference. And basically that's how I got all the employees in the company. When we create content, it's not only for client acquisition, it's also for client retention, and also for kind of getting the right people who are the right fit for us.
Yeah. That's that seems to be like the power of the polarization that you're talking about as well, saying your truth, and you're going to get people who agree with you, follow you.
Yeah. And we need to, not everybody are good at copywriting. So we kind of work with them to get to that level. And everybody in the team are the copywriters. I think that's one of the biggest advantages that you can have as a team, because when they realize the copywriting, it means that they also realize they know what they are talking about, because you need to know what you're talking about to write a good copy. And also, like, the whole team is giving feedback one to each other, like, you can maybe add this thing in the intro, you can add this thing in the outro, you can maybe add more personal things, you can maybe add the different structure, you can create 2-3 posts out of that one, those kind of things. And it makes it interesting because it was the way that we started, and it gave us the kind of the recipe for what we need to do with the bigger companies, because they need a hub inside the company of people getting excited about the LinkedIn, getting education about personal brand, about LinkedIn, and also like doing the gamification of engagement.
Yeah. Do you think it matters what the people post about? Should they be posting about their job? Say you have like a sales person and you have a product person. What should they post? Is there like something you suggest?
Yeah, it all depends. I think they should post about their work, because I don't think there's a work-life balance, because work is life as well. By saying that, I don't mean that you should work, 15 hours a day. I'm not a fan of that. But I like to look at it from two directions. One is like hammering over pain points of your target audience. So basically, CEO writes about leadership, about investment, about guiding the company somewhere, about the founding story. COO writes about business development, about operations. CMO talks about marketing. Product designer talks about designing the products. Copywriter talks about psychology and writing, those kind of things. And also one thing that's missing is the personal stories and the examples from what we are doing outside of the work. So let me give you an example. While working in performance marketing agency, I needed to get myself in the state of mind that it was a lot of pressure, deadlines were short, you know how it goes. But I needed to get myself in the state of mind where I'm the best when the pressure is the highest. The owner of the agency bought a huge car, Jeep, and I needed to do something similar. So I bought a bicycle, which is like unique in Serbia, and it's a huge one. So when I ride it on the streets, people look at me. They notice that they look at the bicycle, and I'm always with my headphones. I get accustomed to people actually looking at me, that I'm kind of somebody who's driving attention. And it helped me in the long run. It helped me actually being the best where I needed to do it. And it's not only that, but there's just one small example. And like I learned, let me give you one more. I learned how I learned management. It wasn't something like I studied marketing, but I didn't finish it because I didn't learn anything. We had like 3 examples out of 35 talking actually about marketing. So I went the other way and learned in different channels, in different experiences. And I was organizing the huge summer camps to save Balkan mountains from villages from dying, villages in high mountains. And those were camps of 200 people from 18 countries. And we didn't have advertising. We didn't have those kind of things. So I learned everything. I got those people by posting in the groups and doing like manual work, but also like it's not easy to come up with some rules and improvements during the camp when you have 19 people per day inside the camp. So when you ask them what was wrong, what can we improve, it's 80 people. Nobody will speak because there's a group. It makes them stronger, and they don't need to step aside and say, this guy did this was wrong. I needed to learn how to do things a little bit differently. So one part of the schoolyard, in one object, we have like people from foreign countries. In others, we have people from Serbia. And in the middle, there were tents with mixed people. So I put my tent in the middle. And after the dinner, I come into the tent, I do some work, but nobody knows I'm here. And people are sharing what's wrong, what was good, what wasn't. And I'm listening. Nobody knows that I'm listening. So tomorrow morning, like I fix everything. And one more thing that I learned by doing that is also I was doing things a little bit different, because before me, others were organizing camps, and it was like people from the village get a chance to get drunk, with people they don't know, tell them their local stories. But I made them clean the rivers, clear the garbage dumps, learn about ecology, those kind of things. they hated me that year. The next year, what I did, I brought in my friend, oriented with huge muscles, bald guy, and said he's the man in charge. Attention was on him while I was able to kind of organize everything. And those kind of similar stories. And when I got into the first agency as a rookie, like all those things helped me actually show the leadership, the management, everything. And basically in 13 months, I prepared a list of 17 things that I want them to change, the owners, or I'm going out of the agency. And they call me one Sunday, and when you call somebody in Sunday, it's either promotion or it's like they fire you. I didn't even think about being promoted, but like they said, you are the first person ever that we have in the agency. It's like 15 people agency, Canadian based, and we want you to be the first GM. But I told them but I have 17 things that I consider as wrong and I want you to fix it. They say, okay, you're in charge, fix them now. And they disappeared for 2 months. They literally disappeared. They didn't answer my messages, anything. So I didn't know any passwords, anything. They just told them yeah, Nemanja is in charge. He has all the obligations, but all the freedom as we have as the owners. So I needed to build processes, operations, one-on-one calls with everybody from the scratch. It helped me a lot. It accelerated my career a few years in advance, but it stopped the agency a little bit. It slowed us down. But for me personally, that was the game changer at the moment. That's kind of the stories that I'm considering, stories that actually change something.
Yeah, those stories are like kind of powerful personal growth stories and ways you got to be where you are. I think those are more relatable stories at the end, like educational, but these are like relatable.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need to come up with the stories like, hey, I met a girl and we went to the fortress and walked around, fall in love. That's not the stories for the LinkedIn or for building a personal brand. That's kind of different stories.
Would you say that people and posting on LinkedIn is your most powerful distribution strategy? Is that the biggest part of it?
Yeah, because LinkedIn is kind of the place when it's going to be the go-to place for the B2B companies for next 10 years, definitely. But it's the place when you can scale people in the easiest way. And that's what makes it work. Also, we are working with tech-based companies. Yeah. They often forget that their biggest assets are the people, because their people are building those technologies and those softwares. So they need to show the people in front of the company. And this is actually what not many companies are doing. And some of them did it. Drift did it perfectly. I don't know. Gong did some of it. I don't know what they're doing. I'm not seeing their posts anymore. Maybe they changed something or I'm just not seeing it. Also, Gravy does that. Casey and the team are doing great with that. And I see some others going. I mean, some companies are building themselves in front of our eyes right now on LinkedIn, and it's happening. And that's why it's LinkedIn. It can be any other platform, all depending on the performances or what our audience are. Like LinkedIn gives you a huge opportunity to organically reach millions of people. And other thing that we are doing a little bit different is like distributing the content with Facebook and Instagram ads, basically to...
Yeah, this is something I wanted to ask you about, actually.
Getting the content right in front of the people that actually need to consume it. When it's something that's also coming from B2C environment.
What are the benefits you're seeing of that, I guess? Is it brand awareness, people reading like nice content, or are you always doing like kind of bottom of funnel content on those ads?
No, content that goes to Facebook and Instagram ads is the news like articles, case studies, testimonials. Content, in most cases, sometimes the research can be one, but usually it's the content that can be consumed in up to 3 minutes. Okay. So we go after, on one hand, the decision makers, and on the other hand, people that will actually use the products. Let's say it's like Canva, then we go after the people that will use Canva. So basically, if we can not get the decision makers to read it, then the people that will actually use it will read it, and they will influence the decision makers. So we follow what's happening on the channel level. If the right people are consuming it, then we watch if they are reading the articles or watching the videos on the website, how much time they are spending on those pages. And if they are, then we just need to learn to be patient and wait, because it will happen. Sometimes you can even go, depending on what are your topics, you can go with retargeting if you need to close some customers or some clients faster, because like they were interested in this article when the headline was, I don't know, B2B CEOs, or the other was like financial industry CFOs, or I don't know, based on the headline or maybe the topic of the article. That's how you see who those people, you firstly define who will react to the article, and then you find out what is the topic they're interested in. And then when you do the retargeting, you can say, I know that you are working on this position and you are interested in this topic, so maybe we can jump on a 50 minutes call free of charge to see if we can help you with these specific things.
Okay, yeah. And use that as a relationship building tool.
Yeah, I mean, basically you educate the market, but it's one thing that we use it to fast forward the content consumption. It takes time for content marketing to work, and usually it's double the time that you give to somebody who starts to work in sales, right? You give them 3 months and you say, okay, 3 months to close your first sale. Or I don't know, our sales cycle is 6 months. And like for content to start working, it usually takes a lot longer. But you can use ads in this way to kind of make the sales cycle shorter and to kind of educate people faster, because you are delivering the content straight to them. And everybody has up to 3 minutes a day when they open the Facebook or Instagram. And the way algorithm works, they will deliver the ad to them right at the moment when they are the most, when they are willing to read it the most.
Yeah.
So
like susceptible to clicking that button.
Yeah, and they're not to get into it, but you need to come up with the right campaign, with the right setup, the right conversions, those kind of things, because it kind of goes, I like to compare LinkedIn engagement with that, because on Facebook ads, you need to choose just one goal that you want people to do. And that's how you choose the right campaign. On LinkedIn, if you want engage people on your post, you need to add people who are already engaged. It's that simple.
Yeah. I know we're nearly out of time, so just a couple more questions if that's fine. So just one thing I wanted to ask was, are you a fan of, so when you like advertise like a case study, would you say keep that ungated, or would you put that behind an email so you can collect the information of who read it?
Yeah, I'm always fan of ungating everything. You can gate some like white papers or some huge documents, but you leave it ungated and then you give them a chance to download the PDF version of it if you already want to do it, if they want to read it. But in today's world with so much data available to us, the excuse that companies that are gating content has, but how do we know if they downloaded it? You don't need for them to give you an email to understand that. There are so many ways in which you can measure those things and see if somebody is consuming the content. You don't need to go over that just to get that answer.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Okay, that's, I think one other, I think you've already mentioned quite a few, about what is your most controversial opinion? Maybe I should just put it out there.
There are all kind of controversial things happening, but not using people to showcase what are your biggest strengths is definitely one of them. The second thing is basically only talking about yourself and about your features and pretending that you care about your customers and that it's for them. Also, I don't know, there are all kind of shitty things going on around. Like I was just reading last night on Twitter one thing, and it's your customers and your clients doesn't care about your Christmas line of posts, and it doesn't matter if your CEO cares about it. There are all kind of those things. Also not allowing people to post on their own on LinkedIn just because you don't have the culture and the values, and CEO is not comfortable with what they will say. That's also one huge thing related to everything that we talked about.
Yeah, definitely. I could see that, like a controlling CEO being scared of the brand image kind of thing.
Most of them are like that, especially the old CEOs in the old companies, because even the people over there in sales and marketing, they are used to doing sales and marketing in a different way. It's not that they don't want to, but a lot of time needs to pass for them to get used to doing that and change the whole mindset and everything.
Yeah.
And if the CEO doesn't allow them, that doesn't help them.
Yeah, definitely. I've never worked in a massive company in my life. I sometimes feel quite lucky when I hear the stories, actually, that I've never been like in one tiny piece of marketing. It's always just been like at startups. So it's do everything you can.
Yeah, that's better for you, trust me. So,
well, thank you. Thanks so much. It's been great talking to you. Learned a lot.
thank you for calling me. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, me too. Cool.